Restokim Grosseria. Nidius Entertainment. Wah, pakai fitur lifestyle di BCA Mobile. Semua bisa terkabul, mantul. Makanya buka tabungan dulu di BCA Mobile.
Ngurus penggajian bikin kewalahan. Kata apa solusinya? Kata apa adalah solusi pintar penggajian yang membantu proses payroll jadi lebih cepat, hemat biaya, dan bisa diakses kapan dan di mana aja. Tentunya dengan harga terjangkau, mudah digunakan, dan dilengkapi artificial intelligence. Katapa mempercepat proses penggajian berdasarkan komponen yang berlaku. Jadi, perhitungan payroll beres dalam satu klik aja. Pakai Katapa, aktivitas HR jadi lebih mudah.
Okay, good afternoon. Sorry about that. So, papers has been used for thousands of years. It's been booming since the 15th century during the printing revolution. In fact, there was a survey, the top 100 most influenced people for the past 1,000 years. And Gutenberg was named as number one because his contribution in the printing revolution. This is ahead of Einstein, Newton, and people like that. One of the reasons is this, because papers, we have been taking this for granted. We have been using this basically since we were born, even today. It's part of our daily life. If you look, there are so many applications there that we have been using it even for years to come. However, there are certain things that could be better if we digitalize this paper. Like for example, like books, magazine, mail, now has been digitized. We can do a lot more on this thing. So there are certain papers usage will remain the same for years to come, but there are certain things that could be improved with today's technology. In fact, the paper is predicted will double its usage despite all digital age today. Okay? Unfortunately, there are some side effects of using this. Now with today's technology, we can analyze how we use paper. Okay? And it turns out there's the dark side of papers that affecting us today. So we want to look for a better way than just using regular paper as we know it today. Okay? And independently, for the past few decades, scientists have been researching about this global temperature for the past few hundred years. If you look from 19th century up until today, the temperature has been rising over a couple degrees Celsius. So what we want to do is to control it in such a way, the rise of the temperature, just like pre-industrial revolution. So this way, we want to still preserve our green earth. We don't want to become like this. Okay? So those are a kind of thing that right now become a global initiative worldwide that major countries are looking how to control this global temperature issue. So now, knowing what we know today, despite all the usefulness that the benefit that we get from papers, we also have identified some of these things are costly, insecure, inefficient, and not ESG friendly. So now we want to look for a better solution than this while still retaining the benefit of it. Now the question is, with today's technology, why can we go paperless? So I look for, there are many explanations. I'm going to highlight 3 of them. So this particular chart has been around at least 3 decades. This is for all startup in Silicon Valley. It's a must-read books. This is on their 3rd revision. Basically, it turned out the adoption for any new technology, it takes time. Usually it started by the early adopters and innovators. Any technology, you name it, if you look from cars, cloud computing, internet, mobile, it always takes time. It doesn't happen overnight because most people are just followers. They are not going to do anything unless they have to. But a few are actually, they are willing to test something new. These are the people that actually accepting this, all this emerging technology which eventually become mainstream. The other thing is this is another interesting thing, is from Douglas Adam. He said he has 3 rules about technology. One is, when we were born with it, that technology kind of accepted because we were born with it. If you're Gen Z, for example, you are used to with social media, you're used to with internet, with mobile. And then in fact, some of the new technology, when they were invented just before you turn 30, it might be even become your career. Now, the interesting thing about this is, after you become 30 years older, anything invented after 30 years older, it becomes something foreign. It's very hard to accept. And ask yourself if you fit into this category or not. My personal experience talking with my colleagues, my partners, friends and family, actually, I see a lot of people behaving like this. Now, the 3rd one is about mindset. In Indonesia, if you look back 40 years ago, 30 years ago, if you have to computerize your company, you basically have to import the hardware. You also have to import the engineers, because back then we didn't have much software engineering like we have today. Okay? So as a result, many companies view technology as a support center, cost center, and indirect impact. And unfortunately, this mindset still continue today. On the other hand, if you look the modern company, especially the technology company coming out from Silicon Valley, they have totally different mindset. They view technology as a very strategic investment. They found a way, the more they use technology, the more money they make. The more they hire engineers, the more money they make. The key reason is this, because these companies figure out how to use technology. I noticed this at least for the past 10 years in Indonesia. I saw a lot of startup and a lot of companies doing digital transformation, a lot of this technology. They are not doing it right. Because they are not doing it right, as a result, when they adopt technology, it actually costs them more. Okay? So what that means is, in today's world, when you are running business, every business basically should have the core competency about technology. Just the way the core competency that how you manage your finance in a company. Any company should be able to, should manage their financially wisely. Same thing with technology. If you lose money because of technology, if you lose money because you're hiring engineer, you're not doing it right. And this kind of thing, as shown by Arman earlier, it takes time to build this thing. This is not something, hey, I want to get it done, it will be done next week. It takes years, a lot of mistake and pain before you get the benefit. So this is mostly the mindset between technology first, technology-driven company that become a $1 trillion company because they eat technology for breakfast. Basically, every day, all they do is thinking how to use technology to improve their business goals. On the other hand, the old mindset, because they don't understand, they don't know how to do it, they always feel, this is a cost center, I have higher priority, so as a result, they are getting left behind further and further away. Because if you wait, it's not going to be easier, it's going to be harder. So the difference is the mindset. Now, if you look back 40 years ago, this is when the first PC was introduced. Many of you never seen this form factor, but this is the first PC. When it was invented, a lot of companies, because this is pretty affordable. Just to give you the context, back then if you buy mainframe, it will cost you multi-million dollars investment. This one you can afford it for a few $1,000s. So during that time, people think, hey, maybe we can make this world paperless. Now, fast forward today, after 40 years, we have trillion documents. These are some of the most popular documents in the world. Many of you created this, and billions of people actually consume this. In fact, I'm using one of these formats for this presentation. So there are trillions of them out there today, okay? Now, again, it solves some issues, but unfortunately also introduced another issue. When you have this document, actually they become scattered. Some of them still in hard copy, some of them in company server, some of them in the old laptop, all computers, some of them hard copy. So it's very hard to search them. It's very hard to correlate them. It's very hard to analyze them. Okay? So with this kind of problem, using this what I call paperless 1.0, obviously it has limited success. So if you look today, notice that I call it digital and data economy. It's not digital and data era. I call it digital and data economy. The reason is this. We have this, we used to call knowledge workers. Today, we call it digital knowledge workers because most workers now are using digital to help their work. And then we have over 1 billion websites, 2 billion PC, 6 billion smartphone, and technology, hardware and software advances, and the government also become digital friendly. They create regulation to help us digitize things. And as a result, some of these companies become $1 trillion company by market cap. Some of them become, many of them become multi-billion dollars company in such short period of time. And then they also are committing to help to contribute to the net zero, to help with the ESG issue. Now, this year, Gartner announced one of the key trends in the digital technology is hyper-automation. What that means is you have to automate everything. Not only regular automation like what we have been doing for the past 30 years, but we have to use advanced technology to automate this, right? Like using, for example, computer vision, NLP, and voice ID, and using the ABCDX technology. That stands for AI, blockchain, cloud data, and security, web, and mobile. These are the modern technology stack today. That the one that Arman showed earlier, basically based on this technology. Now, for the past 2 years, almost 2.5 years now, I live in three countries, in the US, Singapore, and Indonesia. I noticed my behavior change. For example, when I do a payment, I prefer to do contactless, whether using QR code, NFC, or just order online. Right? I keep my social distancing. And then when I drive, voice command in my driving because it's safer. Also at home, there are a lot of smart devices that I use. So with the current situation, I become more sensitive when I cough and sneeze and also the people surrounding me. So right now, yeah, I still look for conveniences and easy to use, but it's equally important for me to have this contactless using this technology because I feel safer that way. Now, I just moved to a new apartment. One thing that I noticed when I configure my air purifier, I have to use Wi-Fi and smartphone. The same thing with my TV, I have to do the same thing with Wi-Fi and smartphone. Door, lighting, air condition, you name it. It's basically all of these things, the speakers, TV, now they all become smart speakers, smart TV, just like our smartphone. Right? So slowly, right now, we are dealing with a lot of smart devices, both at work as well as at home. So based on this thing, what we have seen for the past few slides, that means the customer is ready, the technology is ready, the government is ready, the price also affordable. So that means we are ready for paperless 2.0. So we want to get it all of this paper-related stuff. Early this year, when I was in Singapore, I was taking my sister for surgery because some unexpected thing, it took longer. Unfortunately, during that time, I have to do a business transaction in Indonesia. So during that time, I have to fly back to Indonesia and sign using wet signature to do my business transaction in Indonesia, and then I flew back to Singapore. That's one of the instances where I think I can really use this paperless because we have been investing, GDP has been investing abroad. The way we invest abroad is we didn't fly to its country. The way we do it is we use digital signature. So ideally, everything we do now, we want to avoid all those wet signature using paper. We want to use digital. When I sold my home in the US, I used digital signature. I didn't even have to go back to the US. And then like a couple months ago, I was waiting for a contract to be signed. And they said it has to wait for 2 weeks. I said, why? Well, because the guy is on vacation. So if we use digital signature, we don't have to wait for that long. So we want to get rid of that kind of thing. So we want to convert for something like this. A lot of people say, hey, we do digital transformation. But when we ask them, are you still doing a lot of papers? Yes, we do papers every day. If you do use paper every day, there is no way you can do digital transformation because that's a prerequisite. So a few months ago, I was invited to give a talk to an executive training. The audience is basically their top management. The title of the talk was, the theme was, data-driven decision. So I asked the question, are you still using papers? They said, yeah, we use it every day. If that's the case, you cannot do data-driven decision because by today's standard, when we say data-driven decision, when I search the internet, I got the result in a fraction of a second with million of data in priority order to the relevancy. We are not talking about, oh, we want to do data-driven after we get the data next week or the next day or the next hour. Not the next minute. We are talking about second here. So if we digitize all those papers into digital, we can do a lot of interesting stuff. We can access this quickly. We can analyze this. Like for example, before the internet time, I bought a lot of books. I have hundreds of them because I love reading. So every time I travel, I bought a couple of them so I can read on the road. Right now, when I travel, wherever I go, all my books are in digital format. The last time I looked at my phone, my smartphone, it has over 1,000 items that I can read anytime. I can search if I want to get certain data. There are a lot of more things that I can do in digital format of this ebook than the hard copy. Same thing with email. According to study, every day we send about 330 billion email every day. So what that means, by the time I finish talking, there are a couple hundred of email being sent already. And I can do a lot of interesting stuff with email rather than the hard copy email like I used to decades ago. So in digital, it enables you to do something that you cannot do with paper mail, books, magazine, data, everything. So you want to be something like this, that you can do retrieve this quickly. So if we look, digital knowledge workers, they have this access 24/7, almost in real time. They can access this data within seconds. Not minutes, not hours, not weeks. Okay? Obviously, with this kind of stuff, the turnaround is so quick, increase the productivity. I just cannot imagine now the Gen Z, everything is almost instant for all these Gen Z nowadays. If they work for a company, everything is so slow, everything is using papers, no digital, I don't think that that employee will stay long for the Gen Z. Now, once our employee become productive, obviously they can serve our customer better and faster. And then, like I said about the contactless, ESG friendly, and then the other interesting thing is, in digital, you can easily back up and recover this. There was a study that if you're running your business with papers, if those papers got burned or by flood, basically you will lose your business because all your papers will be gone. So these are some of the benefits of this going paperless. So the call to action is, let's adopt this going paperless. This way, all our employees can be more productive, have a pleasant working experience, so they can take care of the customers by using the same input, but the output is much faster and much bigger. So we can do more with less, basically. And at the same time, a lot of this technology we're using will be green by 2030. They're going to use green technology for the power, so it will be ESG friendly. Thank you.
Beli-beli.
Beli-beli.
Beli-beli-beli.
Gratis ongkir. Beli-beli.
Beli-beli.
Gratis ongkir. Download Beli-beli sekarang.
Beli-beli.
Beli-beli.
Beli-beli tepat waktu. Beli-beli.
Beli-beli tepat waktu. Download Beli-beli sekarang.
Beli-beli.
Beli-beli.
Beli-beli pasti ori.
Beli-beli.
Beli-beli.
Pasti ori. Download Beli-beli sekarang. Pasti puas, pasti Beli-beli.